All right, internet sea legs. So, the story that piqued my interest today happens to be the Trevor Bauer accuser charged with felony fraud after she said pitcher got her pregnant. And this is a rabbit hole and a half. The big thing to remember about why this is really interesting to me, and I think it's one of these stories. A look at Trevor Bauer's history of discussing foreign substances on baseballs. So, my interest in this actually has to do with Trevor Bauer being a whistleblower towards Major League Baseball being corrupt as fuck and not actually caring about the integrity of the game. Again, the integrity of the system. They're whatever motivations that Major League Baseball has, it's not about making money, and it's also not about putting on the best project for the customer. That's why I find this interesting because what Trevor Bauer did when he came out in 2020, I think it was 2021, 2020, is he talked about being able to get more revolutions per or more rotation on the baseball by using tacky substances on the hand. And Major League Baseball knew about it and they weren't policing it. Now, if you're a fan of the game, and I'm not, I don't really follow Major League Baseball anymore. They have all these shenanigans and uh, theatrical procedures in order to check pitchers now for foreign substances. And then there was a scandal like a year or so ago involving all this, where some of the game's more high profile pitchers like just couldn't produce anymore. Almost like, wow, they were doing something to the baseball to get a little bit more performance enhancing. And again, if you're a fan of Major League Baseball, going back to like the 90s and the early 2000s, the steroid era, it was a very open secret that half the league was juicing, and if you wanted to produce, you kind of needed to do something about that. And the league, because of ratings and what the fans wanted, they were had no interest in actually policing their players. Injecting themselves full of steroids. So you have players like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens who aren't in the Hall of Fame, despite being some of the best players to ever actually walk the planet. So again, I'm not a big baseball fan. I got into baseball later on in life, a little bit, the theory behind the game, not so much the fan anymore. I'm a big football guy. But anyway, today Trevor Bauer, accuser, charged with felony fraud after said picture got or said after. Anyway, we'll get down to it a little bit. So the two main videos that did watch today came from Trevor Bauer himself talking about the situation, and then a lawyer on YouTube, Viva Fry, also talking about some of the stuff that was going on, a little bit more of the legal nuances behind it, because wow, this goes down a rabbit hole, and I'm going to be speculating and talking about some other stuff. If you're kind of into that type of thing, this is going to be the thumbnail that I make a little bit later. So Major League Baseball has 10,410 employees. That's on top of the 750 active Major League Baseball players. Now, I bring this up because I wonder how many, just by percentages, of these guys are up to no good on a day-to-day basis. I'm sure that Major League Baseball has employed or is employing certain people that may or may not have committed certain felonies, including of a sexual nature, to be nice to the good old algorithm. And because Major League Baseball, their shield, their brand, it probably benefited them on a number of occasions to pay some money out and sweep some things under the rug. I'm just going to speculate that's occurred from time to time over the history of Major League Baseball. Now, moving on from that, this case today, where one of the Trevor Bauer accusers was charged in Maricopa County, Arizona, and that's interesting enough on its own. We're not talking about the blonde woman on the right that settled with Trevor Bauer a couple of years ago. He didn't pay her any money. All he wanted was the ability to talk about the case without an NDA. And I actually, when I was looking up to do this video, found out that she got $300,000 from an insurance settlement on this one. No, we're talking about this black lady on the right. This is an entirely different accuser that got arrested and indicted and charged with this fraud today. So this is an entirely different case. I didn't even know that there was a second case going on with Trevor Bauer go in the background. The only one I was aware of is this nonsense case that they declined to charge him on. He basically got blackballed from the game and released by the Dodgers. Nobody would pick him up. He went over to play in Japan because no one will touch him with the 10-foot pole, despite being a Cy Young Award winner, which means he was the best, voted the best pitcher in baseball. So anyway, I'm not too much into the know on this, other than the fact that like in Viva La Fry's video, this lady, the black one that was charged today, she was lawyer shopping, and there are emails out there which the lawyers are politely declining to take her case because she was full of shit, to such an extent that the ambulance chasers were chasing her away and politely telling her that they thought she was lying until she could actually find someone that was believe this or not, a lawyer that was a big enough piece of shit to actually try and defraud the major league pitcher of money. Yeah, and it gets even crazier about like her wanting to get his sperm so she could get her. Again, that's not the point of this story. There is a few other things involved with this because this story has been going on for the last few years, and I want to make sure I pull up some of this stuff. So you have the Trevor Bauer accuser charged with felony fraud, and in this case, they actually identify her, and this is important. Her name is Darcy Adana Esimone. I don't know. But the point is on this one, and this is from the USA Today, they actually acknowledged who the accuser was that was charged with fraud. But we go to this other one, and this was by the Associated Press, and this is bridging off of yesterday's NPR, that NPR is fake and gay. That the Associated Press, the worthless piece of shit information launderers that they say that they typically do not identify people who have been victims of sexual assault unless they come forward publicly. So they didn't actually, like, as far as I can tell, they didn't actually name the woman who was charged with trying to defraud Trevor Bauer because of the fact that she accused him of sexually assaulting her in order to get charged with the fraud. Can't make this fucking shit up. Now, the other thing, as I was trying to look up information on this case, we actually see from SB Nation and their left-wing crap on top of all that, they put out a hit piece yesterday instead of reporting the fact that one of the accusers, another accuser on Trevor Bauer, was found to be at least full of shit enough to be charged in Maricopa County, that they decided to do a hit piece where he's getting bombed trying to pitch in Mexico over the actual news that may exonerate his his reputation to a certain extent, that he wasn't an abuser of women. Wow, who would have thought that? All behind, it's almost like Major League Baseball is not sweeping up the mess that they have because they may or may not have an axe to grind over a guy who called them out for not policing their game, because they don't give a shit about the integrity of it. They only give a shit about the optics of the institution politically. Again, where people are chasing power. They don't actually care about profits. If they care about profits, they would care about putting the best game on the field for the audience to watch, and they don't care about that. So, like, again, all these things are going on, and this is the part that I would speculate when it comes to Major League Baseball is, how much stuff are they actually sweeping under the rug so we don't know about it, just like the steroid scandal in the 90s and the early 2000s. How many of their employees, their 10,000 employees, are they politely not or paying off so those criminal complaints never hit the news organizations, so we're able to talk about it. And that's not even counting the individual Major League Baseball franchises that probably have an employee or two that drives drunk on occasion, if not may or may not have some type of like compromising pictures of children on their cell phones or something like that. I'm just speculating. I don't have any evidence of any of this occurring. It just seems that 10,000 employees, one or two of them may have run afoul of the law on a certain occasion or two, and I'm sure we've never heard about one or two sexual assault accusations revolving a guy who told the game that they're full of shit. And not only did he tell them that they're full of shit, they didn't even do their due diligence to find out that these two women were so full of shit that one got charged today in Maricopa County, and the second one, signed a settlement to allow Trevor Bauer to talk shit about her in public. Yeah, nothing to see here, Major League Baseball. Go fuck yourself.